Earlier in the year, over the summer, I visited India for the first time and brought with me the C65 Aeolian Dune in bronze as a travel companion. I felt that as it oxidised and started to look more rugged, it fit perfectly with the ancient buildings and culture that I was visiting. For my next big trip though, travelling to both Thailand and Vietnam, I wanted something livelier and more vibrant to match the tropical setting. I reached out once again to Christopher Ward, and they were happy to oblige, lending me the C60 Trident Reef for the journey. I will just say that while I am obviously deeply appreciative of the gesture, this is not a sponsored video, and my thoughts on the countries and of course the timepiece are entirely my own. I will just say before the video starts that this was my first ever trip to Vietnam, something I was really excited about. And while it may not be conveyed in the video, the centre and north of the country have been experiencing some of the worst flooding in the country's history. I just want to use this platform briefly to highlight that and let you know that Unicef are working in the area to provide aid. I'll leave a link in the video if you want to donate. Again, not sponsored, but it just felt like the right thing to do to mention it. With all that said, let's get into the adventure. Thailand is a really interesting place. It was never colonised by Western powers, instead acting as a buffer between French and British colonies. As a result, it has a rich and diverse culture, including its own alphabet, which is over 700 years old and derived from Buddhist scriptures written in an ancient Indian language. I'm half Chinese Malay, and so I find it quite interesting how different Thailand is to Malaysia, given they are neighbours. Where Malaysia is one of the most multicultural countries in the Far East, Thailand is over 90% Buddhist. And while you can tell that it's been influenced by neighbouring powers, it definitely still retains a lot of its own culture, flavours and customs. I'd only visited the country once before on my honeymoon well over a decade ago, and we went to one of the holiday islands then. The capital city Bangkok felt very different. The traffic was as bad as New Delhi earlier in the year, but people weren't crashing into each other to nudge further forwards towards their destination. The multi-level design of the city was something that really stuck out to me. Ground level is like normal, but above that there are often several layers of walkways, intersecting roads and sky trains, with a metro system running beneath it all. Every layer was bustling with activity, particularly at night. In reality, while I think that this is a watch that's a really strong choice for a tropical country, the bustling cities aren't really what I was thinking of. I think it would have looked a lot more at home on one of the beaches of the mainland or any number of the countless islands off Thailand's shores. As an aside, and clear hint towards what I mean, Christopher Ward have a long-standing relationship with an organisation known as the Blue Marine Foundation. Their stated aim is to get protected status for 30% of the world's oceans by 2030, and sustainable fishing practices in place worldwide to combat habitat and species loss through overfishing. As a result of this partnership, 2% of every sale of a reef model goes to the foundation. Christopher Ward as a brand donates 2% of their total sales across their entire output towards a range of charities. And while morality is not a common reason for buying a watch, credit where credit is due, that's a fantastic initiative for a company to have. The theming of the model itself doesn't come directly from that relationship though. While the name is a dead giveaway, the colorations come from endangered coral reefs. To be more specific, they are actually inspired by the work of Anna Brekovic, a visual artist with an extraordinary ability to mould paper to her vision. Her artwork, Corallium, is the basis for the 5 colourways available in the Trident Reef range, namely Acro White, Chalice Green, Galaxia Black, Helio Blue, and the star of this video, Tuba Orange. I'm a particular fan of the orange colourway as it makes that oppositionally coloured blue minute hand really pop. The reef models also have a unique feature in the white inner ring that frames the dial, adding a 2-tone contrast to it that isn't present in other Trident pieces to help accentuate those coral colours. You'll have to forgive the very random aside here. As a kid, I collected Pokemon cards, and the cost of packs out in Thailand is so cheap I thought I might indulge, hunting for my favourite Pokemon Oddish on a Thai card. It's about $1 for a 5-card pack, and compared to prices in the West, that's insane. They're available everywhere at RRP too, so no fighting scalpers for them. I know almost nothing about modern Pokemon, but one of the cards that I got was worth more than I paid for all the packs, so I guess that's a result. It also gives a bit of an excuse to have a prolonged look at the strap options for the Trident. I'll bridge into that topic in a moment, as it's time to swap countries. I don't think I've ever felt less educated than my visit to Vietnam. I've heard of the war more than the country, but it's not something we really learn about in the UK through school-level history lessons, so my understanding was mostly formed from films and video games, and I was wholly unprepared for the realities of the conflict. I thought I would find it fascinating to learn about, but the reality was a sobering experience. Partially because of having to be ingenious to survive during that time, Vietnam is a very dynamic culinary experience, one that I would personally rank as the best few days of food I've ever had. It, alongside Thailand and many other Far Eastern countries, has an obscene amount of watch stores, from malls with entire floors dedicated to wristwatches and jewellery, countless G-Shock stores dotted around the bigger cities, and many more dubious street vendors selling some highly questionable pieces. I was somewhat tempted to pick up one to test for a video, but morally I don't want to support counterfeiting, and going across borders with contraband is not a good idea. Vietnam itself reminded me a lot of my childhood visits to Malaysia, an unending stream of scooters, street markets, and a bustling energy to the place. I have to say, I was very thankful for the rubber strap on the Trident Reef. It was so hot and humid at times, plus a cavalcade of insect bites mean that I don't think my wrist has ever swollen so much before, and being able to easily adjust the strap size was frankly a necessity. It's made from Aquaflex, a temperature-resistant fluorocarbon rubber, which is stronger and has a little more weight to it. It's a reassuring and grippy on-wrist experience, and the taper down to the hardware is a nice touch. To the matter of choice, when you order a reef, you can choose any of the colourways, and indeed, the tuber is advertised on a light blue variant. The Trident range is something I'm familiar with already, having had a 38mm Trident C60 300 Pro in my personal collection. And that leads me on to what I think for me would be the one downside of the reef range in general, the fact that 41mm is the smallest option. It's not to say that 41 is a bad size, it's a good middle point to maximise the number of people who can wear the piece comfortably. I also think, given the vibrant colourways, something bigger and bolder makes sense. If you are, however, a member of the small wrist brigade like myself though, it is a shame that smaller sizing isn't yet available, though the brand does have a habit of closing those gaps later on down the line in fairness, so time will tell. On the flip side, there is a larger 44mm version, so the larger wristed are most definitely well catered to here. Both sizings come in at 11.45mm thick. For a quick roundup of the remaining specification points, the hands and applied indices are coated in Superluminova grade X1 GLC1, which gives them a very vibrant teal glow when the lights go out. As with many Christopher Ward pieces, the range is powered by the Sellita SW200-1. Its 4Hz frequency gives it a smooth sweep of the second hand, and its inbuilt shock protection gives you a little more peace of mind. It's a reliable Swiss-made workhorse of a movement that isn't going to let you down. There's a custom rotor and some nice finishing on the Sellita, which you can see through the exhibition caseback, which is always a nice touch. When it comes to use case scenarios, it's clear from the design that this is going to be most at home on the beach as a holiday watch. However, don't let the bright coloration fool you. This is still a serious dive piece. That caseback I just mentioned is screwed down, as is the crown. There's 200 meters of water resistance as a result, supported by that loom and a unidirectional bezel. The bright colours of the models aren't to be discounted as a feature for diving either. In the late 1960s, Doxa began experimenting with colour for dive models, and orange, like this Trident, was found to be one of the most effective, as the contrast against the deep blue of the ocean meant the watch remains visible even at depth. The orange on this Trident model is quite literally everywhere. The dial, the strap, the bezel, even the outside of the case has been colour matched. So while you might see this and think tropical beach vibes, actually it's very fitting for the obvious use case of diving with a dive watch. The thing is, even if the colour options available are not for you, it's not as if the Trident range starts and ends with the Reef. It's actually very broad, with a wide range of colourways, modifications and size options available, with the Lumiere sitting at the top of the range as a real example of what's possible in modern watchmaking. Having said that, I've really enjoyed my time with the Reef and my travels through Thailand and Vietnam. They're really interesting cultures to explore, and surely some of the best countries on earth in terms of cuisine. I just want to finish by saying a massive thank you for your support on the channel. It's no secret that Christopher Ward are one of my favourite watch brands, and it's only because you, the audience, have been watching my videos that I'm in a position where I can borrow pieces to review from them like this. That really means a lot to me and lets me do more of what I love doing. As ever, thank you for your time. If you've enjoyed what you've seen or found it informative, consider dropping the video a like and subscribing for more content like this in future.